Let's get back to the pandemic and the national response here and borders and catch up with Margy Osmond from the Tourism and Transport Forum. Good to talk to you again, Margy. You must be so relieved that the Queensland border is opening up in December. I mean, why not do it today, for crying out loud?
Absolutely. Anyway, hi, Chris. Yeah, I mean, look, I have to confess I've spent most of the afternoon doing my happy dance, and it is great to see that it's now going to be open for the 1st of December, but I completely agree with you, do it now. The only issue with do it now is the industry does need a couple of days to gear up and get organised to be open, I suppose. Yes,
so there'll be airlines employing more people, there'll be resorts and booking agencies bringing people more back from JobKeeper and the like, which is great news. What about the uncertainty for the rest of us in this country? We've seen South Australia slap on lockdowns. We've seen borders come up and down. Western Australia is still holding out. Will people be nervous about booking flights, thinking the rules can change, as they literally did last week, mid-air?
Look, I do think that's a major concern, Chris. I think the other concern for the Queensland tourism market, because it has been left so late, is that many people won't have taken the risk of not being able to have a holiday at Christmas. So they will have booked somewhere else. But what will make the difference is the number of people who just haven't been able, for a range of reasons, to connect with loved ones or people who matter to them because they couldn't do the quarantine and it simply wasn't feasible. So I think we'll see a big rush of friends, family, and more, fabulous love actually at the airport style shots, which is a great thing. But I do think in the longer term, the next really big task for the National Cabinet, and it will take some serious leadership, is to get a standard set of triggers for the opening and closing of borders, because while we don't have that, there is always going to be a niggling uncertainty for the industry, and there's going to be a lack of confidence in the travelling public. It's the next really big priority to sort out.
Yeah, it's a great point, because they had a national standard for hotspots and that seemed to be just thrown out the window by South Australia. Let's have a look at what Alan Joyce from QANTAS has had to say about compulsory vaccinations for international flights.
We are looking at changing our terms and conditions to say for international travellers that we will ask people to have a vaccination before they can get on the aircraft.
Yeah, it's a big move. It's understandable. Is it going too far, and will it dissuade too many people from travelling?
Well, look, I'm sure Alan has had really good reasons and a lot of research and thoughtfulness and a discussion with the community about this before he would have said anything. But I do think that it's a while before we're going to have international travel per se that, the like we've seen before. So I think there's some time to think about that. I think he's very wise to float it as part of the debate and the discussion about what will it take, because it's not going to be as simple as saying, oh, let's all just fly internationally again. It's going to be infinitely more complicated than that. And from a vaccination point of view, at what point what percentage of vaccination do you have to have in a country for it to be considered a safe destination by our government and to have no quarantine travel? We don't know any of those things at this point in time. So I think it's probably a fair thing to raise that as part of the conversation. But one thing I've learned in the last, 8-9 months is that whenever you think you've got the issue sorted and you know what the platform is and the problem you've got to solve, it'll all change again. So I think we've got a little bit more time before we're going to have to go firm on the requirements of international travel, but it's an important discussion that Alan's raised.
Thanks, Margaret. Let's hope the trajectory remains a good one and we get some steady approach from the states and on these international travel issues too. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely right. Thank you.
Margy Osmond there on tourism, jeepers creepers. People will be very pleased to get back flying around this country and driving around this country, but you want some certainty. You don't want state governments whacking up crazy lockdowns and border bans that we had in South Australia last week.